is 24 minutes past 7, so the grieving family of a 5-year-old boy from South Yorkshire say his life could have been saved had he not been turned away from hospital.
Yusuf Mohammed Nazir's uncle, Zaheer Ahmed, says that he begged for his nephew to be admitted after developing severe tonsillitis, but was told there are no beds. By the time little Yusuf was seen at a different hospital, the infection had spread and he died last Wednesday.
Well, Yusuf's family are now demanding answers, and his uncle Zaheer joins us now along with Dr. Hilary. Good morning to you, Zaheer. We're so sorry for what you and your family have been through. Can't begin to imagine how it feels. We've seen some beautiful pictures of him. He just looks like, Yusuf looks like a little boy full of life and joy and fun.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Tell us about Yusuf first before we go into the absolutely shocking circumstances of what happened to you.
Yusuf was a very active child, a beautiful, loved child, loved by all the family. He was very playful, very active. He was just a beautiful child.
Just full of energy and inquisitiveness.
Yeah, just full of energy. He was very active.
So when you've got a child of 5 who's active and into everything, and then suddenly they get ill, you know, don't you, how ill they must be suddenly. So talk us through what happened and when you realised actually the seriousness of what he was going through.
On the first instance, we went to the GP, just general unwell, a bit of sore throat. So we'd taken him to the GP who had a look at him and said he's got slight tonsillitis, and we're going to give him some antibiotics and see how he gets on. So we'd taken him back the same evening, approximately about 11 o'clock at late evening. His condition got worse. So we'd taken him into the Rotherham Hospital, to the A&E department. At that time, in the waiting area, we was waiting. Yusuf was struggling breathing. He was having episodes where he was choking on his breath. He was kind of having cuts in his breath. So we then, a lady in the A&E went and asked for help from the nurse.
Another patient?
She was just another patient waiting to be seen?
It was another patient.
So she was so concerned with what she was seeing, she wanted to go and make your case.
She ran for help, and the response that she got from the nurse was, if Yusuf's mum's got that much concern, tell him to fetch him here because we're busy. So nobody came to the reception. Nobody came to the waiting area to see him at that point. So at that point was when Yusuf's mum rang me and said, can you please come and complain because he's struggling and I've got him here and they're not doing anything. So at that point I went went to the reception and made a complaint. I said, what are you doing? The answers I was getting is, we've got children waiting, we've got people waiting, we've only got one doctor that's that's looking after all the children, and after 12 o'clock at midnight, he also looks after the adults. So we have got no doctors available. We will do what we can, but just to let you know, you will be waiting a long time.
How long had he been waiting?
So Yusuf got seen, he was, I went in about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and he was seen by the doctor at 6 o'clock in the morning, following day.
And what did the doctor say once he saw him?
Doctors seen him. They did no blood tests, no tests at all. Not not checked his chest. Nothing. They just put a stick in his mouth and said he's got very severe tonsillitis. He said it's one of the worst I've ever seen. I'm going to give him a higher dosage of antibiotics and see how he goes. That's the only answer we got, and we were sent.
Did you ask if he could stay in? Did you say we'd like to have him admitted?
At that point, we didn't know. We left.
Because you listened to the doctor. That's what the doctors say. Yeah.
You listen to them. Obviously, you put the children, you put your lives into their hands, and you expect them to make a decision, and you accept their decision.
So this is on the 15th of last month.
Yeah.
Then 2 days later.
This month.
I beg your pardon. 15th of this month.
Yeah.
2 days later. He gets worse.
He gets worse.
He's not getting better.
Yeah.
And what did you do then?
I then we took him back to the GP. we're not the ones who keep going to the hospital every time. So we're taking him to the GP, which is the normal practice. And the GP said he's got a very severe tonsillitis, and he needs urgently IV antibiotics. He needs this treatment. But I'm in a position where I can't refer you because we've been strictly told not to refer anybody to the ward. No matter what condition they're in, they get referred to the A&E. So I've taken that as an answer. I said, OK, I'll try from myself as a member of the public. I'll try giving them a call and seeing if they could do anything. So I rang them and I begged them. I've never begged for anything in my life, and I begged them to help him. I said, he needs treatment, he needs this IV antibiotic, he needs help. Can you please help him? Can you please give him this antibiotic? She said, no, we've not got no beds. What do you want me to do? Get a bed out? This is
at Rotherham?
Rotherham Hospital, and this was the matron on children's ward. She said, what do you want me to do? Just get a bed out of the air. We've got kids waiting. I said, yeah, but he's poorly, and so are other children. We've not got the space, we've not got the doctors. What do you want me to do? I've told you, go to the A&E. I said, I've been to the A&E, they've checked him, they said he needs IV antibiotics. Can you please just help him? He's struggling, breathing, he's with me, and he's struggling. Can I please fetch him? They said, no, we've not got nobody available. Go to the A&E. If you think he's struggling, breathing, why are you not at the A&E?
And all this time, he desperately needs help.
He needs help, and I couldn't stress as much. And I hope they've got all this recorded, because I'm adamant to say to them, listen to these recordings, listen to how I begged them to, and the responses I got. But nothing happened. So then we had no choice. We were just in the air, and we said, what should we do? To my sister, I said, well, just last thing we can do is just ring the ambulance and get him to Children's Hospital. The ambulance crew arrived. They said there was they put him on oxygen straight away. They said he needs oxygen. His oxygen is quite low. So they put him on oxygen, and they said, we're taking him to Rotherham Hospital. We said, no, we don't want to go to Rotherham Hospital. Then the response we got from them, which is a separate issue, they said, well, do you know you rang an ambulance? We're not a taxi. So so I rang 999 again and saying, look, can you tell me my rights, please? Am I asking for too much? Maybe I'm asking for too much. So they said, no, you're within your rights to go to the closest hospital.
But you didn't want to go to Rotherham because you'd already had an experience. Firstly, where you were told to go home with antibiotics, despite the fact he was struggling to breathe. And secondly, where you'd rung that hospital, a different department, and been told, what do you expect us to do? Magic up a bed out of thin air. So I can totally understand that you would not want to go to that hospital. So you then... Yusuf was taken to...
Yusuf was then taken to the Sheffield Children's Hospital, and...
Was he put on IV antibiotics?
Straight away, within 5 minutes. We didn't have to say anything to him. And Sheffield Children's Hospital were amazing.
Right.
They were amazing, but
it was too late.
It was too late. It was too late. As soon as we got him there, we got him on IV antibiotics straight away. They gave him some steroids to open his airways. And Yusuf, the next day, was sat up. He was sat up, he was on his iPad, he was colouring his book.
So he felt like he was getting better?
Yeah, he was on his oxygen. And he still needed his oxygen. Which he was on.
But the infection had spread.
It was too late. It went to his chest, lungs, pneumonia, and then there were complications, circulation of his oxygen, and then his heart couldn't take it, and then he had 3 cardiac arrests, and they couldn't save him.
Zaheer, you believe that if Yusuf had been treated promptly, he'd still be with us now?
Yeah. I 100% believe if Yusuf was given that IV antibiotic at the time when he needed it, I wouldn't have been here, and he would have been with us.
Dr. Hillary, it's really hard to hear what Zaheer's saying without agreeing with what he's saying. It sounds like, as soon as he was given the intravenous IV that was recommended, he immediately got better. Unfortunately, it had been left too long and the infection had spread.
Yeah, Zaheer and I have had a good chat before now. So I've heard about all the circumstances, and there are a number of lessons here. He's here for one reason, and that's to prevent this tragedy happening to other children. So we really, really appreciate that. So this is a wake-up call for everybody, because here we know we have hospitals in crisis with under-resourced equipment and lack of staff, but also failure of communication, so one doctor not talking to another doctor, no follow-up plan. Yusuf was checked in, he was registered, he was cursorily examined by the sound of it and sent home. You perhaps understand a tonsillitis case being sent home on antibiotics.
In a 5-year-old, it's very common, right?
Of course.
Yeah, but a 5-year-old who's struggling to breathe.
Exactly. On antibiotics, which clearly weren't working. So we have a problem in society today where we have antimicrobial resistance in lots of these germs and infections. So there should have been a plan of action. If he gets worse, this is what you're going to do. This is what we'd like to happen. If they couldn't admit him but he needed admission, he should have been sent somewhere where they could have admitted him. But there should have been follow-up, communication between doctors and hospitals, etc.
Yeah.
But antimicrobial resistance, pressure in hospitals, and attitude, can't comment on that because I wasn't there. That needs to be investigated, and it will be. And bad attitude is inexcusable. But I take my hat off to you for coming to talk about this because there are these worries with winter coming, flu on the horizon, COVID numbers still quite high. We all have to be vigilant and let's sort this nurses strike out before it happens because that's another problem.
Yeah.
Dr. Hilary, parents, and, we all know what it is like when your child is sick. You'll do anything for them.
Absolutely.
But to be told by staff, it's the worst case, but we can't admit you. If your child's struggling to breathe, you need to bring them up to reception, to call someone and be told, what do you expect, to magic a bed out of thin air. We all know and sympathise with the staff who are under pressure. All of us do. I'm sure you do as well. To speak like that to a parent or
it's about empathy. It's about
a relative.
Care. If we've lost that in the NHS, we've lost everything.
Haven't we just?
But I mean, I think this is an unusual case. And I imagine what has happened here, and I'm only surmising, is that this is a rare case of septicemia where there's resistance to the first course of antibiotics, but no swab done because there's no time to do that these days. That happens less and less since I qualified. But a swab would have revealed the germ, would have perhaps been cultured, and we would have known whether to change the antibiotic. That doesn't happen so much.
OK, we've got the Rotherham NHS Foundation trustees say, on behalf of everyone at the Trust, I offer sincere, heartfelt condolences to the family. We know this will not relieve their loss and pain. However, we're commissioning a thorough, independently led investigation into the whole pathway of Yusuf's care, and will liaise with the family to ensure the investigation addresses their concerns. Zaheer, what do you want? I mean, the investigation is way too late for your family. You've lost your 5-year-old nephew. I mean, it's just horrific. What should they have done that night? We just admitted him.
We just wanted him admitted and
admitted or transferred.
Even transferred, or even just given antibiotic, even in the corridor, giving him what he wanted, what he needed. We just want them to take immediate action, give us answers of where they failed, why they failed, who's responsible for him to fail, and most important, what they're going to do to prevent it from happening again.
Have they been communicating with you yet?
I've had one telephone call from the chief executive of the hospital who is wanting to meet. So we have that in that meeting soon.
Yeah. Well, look, as Dr. Hilary says, showing the courage to come in and share this story at a time that is so painful and still so real for you is something that we, there will be hopefully some lives that are saved because of you coming and being brave enough to talk. Parents
have said even if if one child saves his life because of Yusuf, then it's a result. We just do not want any family, any person, every parent, and anybody to go through what we're going through, because we know we're going through.
There's another issue here where GPs used to be able to phone a ward and get somebody admitted, bypass A&E, where we know there's delays, and it doesn't happen anymore. That communication between primary and secondary care has been lost, and that's to the detriment of everybody.
OK.
Honestly, everyone, we're shocked listening to everything that you've both said. Thank you very much indeed for talking to us here.
Thank you.
We send our best to your family, of course. So
Thank
sorry.
you.